What is up, guys? I got NotTheWorst here, bringing another Black Desert online video, and today we're taking a look at the patch notes for April 27th. We did get the Elvia changes that were going on the global labs and in Korea last week, so those are in there along with some other tweaks and things. Tamer's got some things going on as well, so let's get on in there. Take a look. First up, we have some improvements to pet looting. This was talked about at Calpheon episode 2. Essentially what they have done is made it so that the pets are going to prioritize looting instead of following your character around. So when you're moving around or using abilities that jump all around and they're just not looting, that should be alleviated. I did grind a bit this morning. It is fairly noticeable. You're not going to have like a massive increase in trash all of a sudden, but it's definitely going to be a lot easier and a little quicker to have them loot certain things, especially if you're killing a pack and then you just killed it and they're on cooldown and then you wait a second or two for them to loot it. You can actually be moving while you do that. So there is a pretty nice impact. They've got a video of kind of exactly what I just mentioned there for it. So here's, I don't know why they decided to show like this. So the pet's not looting from here. They should have put the little silver highlight things in it, but at any rate, minimal amounts, and then the after for it in the same area where they have the dead. You can see how fast the pickup is going from there while they're using abilities and moving around. So that should fix it. I know Zerker had a large issue with some of the other skills that did that as too. Going on to the Elvia realm or Hadum realm changes, there's quite a bit going on if you didn't look at the global labs, and this is the final iteration of some of the tweaks for what they've done. So overall what they've done is looked to kind of even out the trash loot, removing a lot of the variance between different classes and AP ranges, and really try and get you to grind at a specific Elvia spot in general to make the most amount of money within certain AP limits. So what you're going to see from this, and I've started doing some testing, obviously it's only been out a few hours, so I only have a few hours worth of testing so far, and I'll do some videos kind of comparing to before and after. Your upper end grind, especially at higher AP, at like let's say Orcs or Bloody Monastery, it's going to be a nerf in that instance. The total amount of money you can make is definitely going to be reduced from there. A lot of things were dropped. However, if you were grinding there at lower AP levels and then going into it, you can probably grind at Fogans or Nagas or something like that and actually make the same money that people at higher level gear are making at Orcs or Bloody Monastery, which sounds ridiculous, but this is what they wanted, to remove the variance. So to go with some of the things that are going on, the biggest change out of several was that the spirit weapons are now going to be character bound only. So when you drop one, somebody else can't steal it with you. Their spawn rate is through the roof, or at least the mid-grade one. So let's take Bloody Monastery as an example. Those are lightning type mobs, which means the lightning is the medium amount of damage lightning weapon. The fire one they're weak against, so the fire one does the most amount of damage, and the water one does the least amount of damage to those mob types since they are lightning type. So it's a little triangle of how those all impact each other. The weak weapons, so at Monastery, the water one, the weakest weapons were removed. Those will no longer drop at all. The mid-grade ones were increased by drop rate about 35 times in most cases. So they drop like absolute crazy. I mean, they're everywhere, especially right now. We have a 50% drop rate buff on NAEU. So they drop constantly. They're everywhere. The strongest weapon, so the fire type at Bloody Monastery or the water typing at Orcs, these were increased by double the amount, so they drop twice as often. So you will see them, but you're going to be swimming in the other buffs. Now when you pick one up, you're going to have your 10-minute weapon buff as per usual. You're also going to see an additional 20-minute, we can call it a debuff. As soon as you pick up that weapon, you cannot pick up another weapon for 20 minutes. That means you're going to use your weapon during 10 minutes, and then there's an additional 10 minutes before you can pick up another weapon. And again, you're going to be swimming in them. You're going to have like 10 to 20 weapons all over your map from your rotation during that time. They did add in this extra AP against monsters +3. So if you do talk, number one, you're going to get that buff when you pick up your weapon, and then it lasts for 5 minutes from picking up. At any given time, if you do interact with another spirit weapon thing and you're on cooldown for it, it will apply that extra AP plus monsters +3. They despawn about 5 minutes after they did spawn. It was originally 3 in the first iteration of these changes. They adjusted that to 5-ish on it. So and keep that in mind when you drop them. If you get a weapon and your extra AP monsters goes down and you have another one up, because you will, you can just talk to it and pick up the extra AP against monsters. The +3 is kind of, I'm going to be honest with you, is kind of okay. Like 3 monster damage is sort of whatever, at least in my opinion. It's not even like real world difference between having it on or not, but whatever makes you feel cool when you pick it up and you're not getting nothing from all these weapons that just drop and then despawn because there's a trillion and they have no impact. They also increased the amount of predator roots that you get from the daily quests at the NPCs in each Elvia spot there. I believe it is now 15, 5, and 5, something like that. So you can pick up from a single spot 25 or so. So 2 zones would get you the 50 that you can use to get your daily weapon from the dude English. So you could potentially do an Orcs and a Bloody Monastery if you're on the upper end. Each day, just do one of each. Takes you, I don't know, 15, 30 minutes on each one, and knock those out, and then you've got your Predator Roots for the daily for the next day, however you want to do that. Some specifics with different intricacies on it are the actual zones for it. So they adjusted the AP levels so that they have a certain range for what they recommend doing it, sort of like an AP cap here. So Altar Imps is 240 to 270 recommendation for it. So is Baragi Den as well. Castle Ruins 250 to 280 AP, which is pretty interesting that it's only up to 280 from there. Fogan's 260 to 280. I believe Nagas is in that as well, 260 to 280. And then the big boys at Monastery and Orcs are 280 to 320. I don't know the overall impact of these AP cap because I haven't gone into the lower zones yet, just Orcs and Bloody Monastery so far. So I don't know the impact on what that means for it. The way that they explain this, though, is that in that AP range, you're going to be the most efficient as possible at that spot, meaning if you were at 310 AP, from the wording that they're saying, it's going to be less efficient than if you were lower AP, which seems awkward, but this is the way that it's phrased from here. So you can see OKR spawn rate increased 3,500%, 35 times, like I said, for some of the drop weapons for it. The Narcs, this one was actually increased 3 times. At some of the others, it's 2. Like I said, you're going to see the shards were decreased in drop rate from regular mobs, and then you'll see like special mobs, like Beg, for instance, at the Altar Imps was increased by 64 times, so he's very likely to drop the Sharded from Lights for that. BMCs were reduced across the board for it. DP here was increased on the mobs by 111%. You'll see at Orcs it was increased by 10%. There was originally an iteration where it was 20. I guess that was tweaked down to 10. I mean, you're still going to one-shot them with a weapon. You're just only going to have a weapon for 30 minutes out of an hour at most now. So it is going to have an impact there. You'll see if we look at Orcs 2, the other thing that has happened is you're going to have a decrease in spawns on your rare spawning dudes. So Orc Chief spawn rate reduced by 50%. And then similarly at Bloody Monastery, they changed Muskin so that he actually now spawns like Org does. I didn't see it insanely common from what had been there, but again, we've only had this live for a few hours, so haven't really drilled it down. It's kind of a nice change because the Muskin spawn, unless you're on castle rotation, was completely useless. You're not going to run from your field, forest, whatever, all the way up to Muskins, rather, and kill him for it. Now he just spawns right in the middle of your grind zone. You kill him in a couple of hits. He dies very quickly, and he has a really high chance of dropping essentially all sorts of stuff for you, but weapons as well. Not that that matters because everybody drops weapons. You'll see that Crimson Bells still drop about the same. However, the monsters that you kill from the Crimson Bells, they have had their DP increased 150%, so they're a little bit tankier. They're roughly as tanky as the other ones, as the normal mobs, although they deal way more damage. And you're also going to see that you can't chain Crimson Bells in the sense that Crimson Bell mobs will not drop more Crimson Bells. You can only get them off of the regular mobs. So a little bit of decrease in how often you're going to be getting those times of getting like 7 to 12 bells or something and line them all up and just raking stuff while you go through rotation. Going to be quite a bit less likely that actually happens for it. Just in general, we also see that the Lunar Neck was reduced in drop rate by 50% as well. I do expect over the next month or so, as people kind of sell out what they have on it, that item's probably going to be disto level as far as both rarity and the price that it sells for because of that. So again, these changes, you're likely to just see that a pretty mid-grade, like 5, maybe 600 mil ballpark. If you get a little lucky on like some Seed of Voids, they were decreased in drop rate as well. Across the board, maybe a little lucky, you see 5 to 600 mil probably in your average on it, which is unfortunate because with upper geared players, especially like Orcs, 800 mil was definitely in the ballpark here. It's pretty likely that depending on accessory prices and what ends up happening long term with Elcars, Gyfin may just be strictly better if you have the gear to handle it over Elvia. But again, we'll have to give it some time, try out some testing, and then kind of see how it maps out from there. But yeah, probably a buff if you're lower geared, probably a nerf if you were higher geared is at least the initial reaction. Here's the daily quests that were adjusted to 5, 5, and 15, like I said, for it. So you have 25. 2 spots will get you a daily. The daily you need 50 Predator Reads. All right, let's jump on in to events. And as you can see, there's not a ton. World Boss Destruction event. It's double boss drop rate on some specific ones, namely Garmoth and Vel are in on this as well. Stormbringer Kron is going to drop Heart the Heart of Karanda more often. Belongings of Adventurer from Nightmare Zarka, and then the weapon from the regular one, as well as from Karanda, that's been boosted. And then this one's actually pretty interesting if you're trying to pick up a Garmoth through the quest line, which actually is a hair cheaper, just time gated nowadays. Nuver's going to drop more of those intact reverse skills. The amount you can obtain is going to be doubled, so I believe that means you can get 4 to 6 off of him. I don't recall if Bloodstorm has exactly the same number. Might not matter to you, but that's a thing if you're looking for it. Thundercloud Kudum's double drop on the Kudum's Power Stone, and then the regular weapon box on the regular one as well. That's kind of it for World Boss events. We've got Old Moon Boss Seals have returned, so you can cash those in if you're jumping around to the World Bosses for it. But other events, just a Shakarier Drakania drip event. You can pick up, you get a Dragon's Blessing for showing off your Drakania outfit or whatever, and a apparel bag as well for anyone that shares it. If you want to get into that stuff, just put it in the album and you're entered. Okay, moving on to content updates, and for characters, we got a nice little note from the devs here on Tamer specifically, with some changes here. I don't know Tamer in and out, but if I'm understanding correctly, most of the changes they made for Tamer were supposed to increase his PvE by quite a bit. However, the changes that were actually implemented aren't like a true impact to that, or like skills that you use. They did also address things like attacking mobs while you're mounted with Tamer, so that's in there as well. Let me go ahead and read the dev note for you. In the process of rebooting Tamer, we focused on enhancing her representation and unique combat style by increasing the utilization of Heilang. After the reboot, many adventurers have been enjoying combat with the improved utilization of Heilang. However, adventurers playing other classes as well as adventurers playing Tamer have given us feedback on how only the skill Roaring is used while mounted on a horse. We thought a lot about the situation and came to the conclusion that it does require some improvement and change. First of all, the overall cooldown was reduced for the skill Prime Roaring, but it was changed to not be activated during cooldown. Instead, the skill effects of Prime Roaring were adjusted to be applied in other skills as well, since it's an important skill on the ground also. Also, adjustments were made to work as a substitute when Roaring cannot be activated, such as skill combos or improvements on utilization so that you can deal damage enough. They probably meant deal enough damage. Due to this adjustment, you'll no longer be able to use Roaring while mounted like you could before. This might be slightly disappointing for many adventurers playing Tamer, but we thought it was a necessary improvement, considering future updates, including the pet AI improvements and the development of tier 5 pets, etc., and in the long run. We ask for our Tamer adventurers to be understanding this. We'll continue to check and make improvements even after the update. And mostly I've just heard groans from Tamer mains in general that it wasn't great. Moving on, there was just a couple issue fixes with other classes. Drakania did get its missing 2 skills out of the kit now after getting robbed them last week, so those are in, and we've got a note on those guys that were added as well. Here you can see the 2 skills of the animation form. They actually look extremely similar to skills that already exist. Her WE kind of does this and looks like this, although I believe it's a knockback instead of a stiffen. So there's that. Anyways, here's a note on that. We've added 2 new prime skills for Drakania with today's update, designed for either solo or combo use. These skills will bring about a slight change in Drakania's overall PvE and PvP skill set. For PvE, the addition of these prime skills bring about a more completed field to Drakania's succession, along with boosting its functionality. Prime Sunder and Claw is particularly useful during the downtime when powerful ion-consuming skills such as Blazing Strike or Brimbolt Strike are on cooldown, while Prime Ascent can deal great area of effect damage when comboed after certain skills with limited movement or control, such as Markethan's Scale or Flourish. For PvP, the addition of these prime skills brings about a noticeable change. The added skills each have Forward Guard and Super Armor respectively, which not only grant safer means of dealing damage, but also reduce the focus on dealing damage with Brimbolt Strike alone. We've also changed Brimbolt Raises all accuracy increase buff to now activate on skewer hits. We originally designed Drakania to be capable of maintaining a higher level of accuracy, but we felt her accuracy buffs were a bit too good, so we felt this was a necessary balance change. While some of you may miss retaining such accuracy increase buffs as before, we hope you understand that we added these prime skills to better balance the class. We'll continue to keep an eye on Drakania for PvP even after the patch and make adjustments where needed. And also that they didn't mention in that note, it's not just on skewer, which in PvE is not going to matter because you're using skewer for your skill rotation, charging shards anyways. But not only is it on skewer, you have to hit someone with it as well. So you need to hit an opponent to get that accuracy increase buff, whereas your WRMB Brimbolt raised before, you would get your ion shards charged and you get the all accuracy increase buff both. So it's a little more of a nerf than it just got moved. Skill, you're probably not using skewer on opponents, and if you are, you were already winning at that point anyhow. So yeah, it's kind of off the table there. In most situations, I won't say always. Moving on from there, we do have some item updates. You can keep multiple Talibris tier. They just stack now. So they've also moved those over for it. You'll see that that's in there. They've implemented a Bell's Fine Powder box that you can get from the Crow Coin Exchange on Lemma Island if you're into the old bartering. That's still a thing. You can obtain the Manor Cherry Tree, exchange it for 5 mysterious seeds through the seed vendor in Calphion if you were looking for that. It's a new item, the Quick Flare, which does exactly what it says. It's a quick flare instead of a slow one. Then we've got more item improvements on the descriptions of items, like they said they were going to continue to do, help make it a little less likely that a newer player is going to delete some items that are actually extremely useful and they don't realize it early on while playing. Then a big one here, we've got a new quest update. We have weekly quests for the infinite HP and MP potions for it. So you can additionally obtain one of the items listed in the chart below just by investing around an hour of your time per week. We hope adventurers who are attempting to craft Odor's Spirit Essence or Ornette's Spirit Essence can now aim towards achieving a more visible goal, and adventurers who haven't been able to make attempts and have just started the adventure to think of it as a stepping stone in the adventure. So you can pick up once per week 5 of whichever item you're choosing, not 5 of each. So you're going to get 1 of each of these. The 6 weekly quests that were added, they'll reset every Thursday night. You can select and complete 1 and only 1 of the 6 quests. You're not going to be able to work on MP and HP simultaneously, and you can't work on all 3 pieces at once. It's a little bit of a bonus to go with it. What does that mean? That means if you haven't started working on this and you don't already have some pieces, it's going to take you 20 weeks per piece on it, which means 60 weeks for the entire potion, assuming that you have no other pity pieces that are dropped. Obviously, some are going to drop while you work on those, which may not sound super appealing, but I mean, obviously you don't plan on taking 60 weeks to get your HP potion to work on it. This is just a little added bonus of like, hey, if you don't have a ton of time this week or next week, whatever, you know what I mean, you're only grinding a few hours, you can actually make some amount of progress. And let's be honest, if you're only grinding a few hours a week, anyhow, you are not getting that infinite HP potion anytime sooner anyway. So yeah, kind of a nice little bonus to just kind of push you along through there. They adjusted contribution XP boost on a bunch of quests in Balanos. That's not retroactive, just in case you're wondering, because I know that comes up sometimes as well. Let's go ahead and jump on over, take a look at the Pearl Shop for this week. Also not too much in here, which is interesting. We get a little more content than usual, and they dial back the Pearl Shop. Just fun note there. First up, we've got new outfits available for Drakania. The Cabelius Divinus and Cabelius are now available if you want to pick that up. The Levladian underwear are also there. We don't have a new outfit this week. I believe there was supposed to be a Mystic one released, but we didn't see that. We've got the Riddle Me This outfit box at 50% off, 1 per family. This is that box that you can RNG up a costume. It can be the Succession one, the Classic one, Premium outfit, or you could get 2 of those, or the Reboot outfit as well. So it's $13.50. Not a bad purchase by any means. Last time it came out, I actually got 2 Premium outfits, which I think is the most crons out of them. I'll probably pick that up again, but it's not 100% sold. If you want to just buy them regularly, you can get 5 of them. That resets weekly. It's 2,700 pearls for that. We've got the Ultra Super Premium outfit pack, and it is Ultra Super Premium at 15,860 pearls. It'll get you 6 outfit boxes, 100 artisan memories, and then 150 stack 500 crons, and then 30 Valk's Cry as well. We've got the Far-Fetched Pets pack. That's 2,200 pearls, and you pick your choice of 3 different types. They're mostly birds. Magical Enhancement Pack is 720 pearls. This is 20 artisans, 10 memory fragments, and then you choose either 15 pure magical blackstones or 5 flawless magical blackstones. This is a pretty bad deal. This is like 36 pearls per artisan, and the other items aren't exceptionally useful. So exceptionally worth it for the pearls that you're paying. That's not a very good one, just FYI. Black Spirit Essence pack, essentially 50% off. It's 6 of them for 600 pearls as opposed to normal 1,200. Item Brand Spellstone stack pack in the same boat. It's 1,200 pearls to get 6 of those. Then we've got a discount on storage expansion coupons. It's 25% off on that. 20% off functional outfits. 20% off life XP transfer coupons. And then we've got the weekly outfit sale. The Corsair Desperado premium outfit set. It's 2720 pearls as is usual for the weekly sale item. Actually, it's up for 2 weeks. So there you have it for the patch notes and the Pearl Shop this week. It ran a little bit long, but I wanted to talk about those Elvia changes quite a bit. Anyways, let me know what you think about the things going on there in the comments down below. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to like it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you get notifications when new videos do go live. And if you'd like to catch me playing live, there's a link to my Twitch page in the description down below. You can jump on over there, drop a follow so you get notifications for that as well. With that said, that's going to be it for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I will see you next time.